soon as Mr. Beach is done, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so approval of the agenda tonight with flexibility.
I so move.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for October 17th, 2023 regular meeting.
I move those minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Clerk Treasurer's report.
Vouchers presented in the amount of $90,652.74. Everybody's reviewed already.
Make a motion, approve the vouchers, 90,006, what did you say, 52?
652.74.
652.74.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Perf employee contribution resolution.
Let's see. All right, so per our town council meeting on June 20th, you guys agreed to opt into the PERC program for the full-time employees. We signed the town council signed a resolution for this, for this PERC program. Long story short, the resolution that was completed with the help of our town attorney and our PERC representative that Tana was working with was not completed and the box wasn't checked correctly. Therefore, you guys had said that the town employees that were a part of the program were going to pay the 3% mandatory contribution. The way the resolution was presented to you and signed by you, it was the town was going to pay that 3% contribution. So therefore, from July until now, the town has been paying the 3% mandatory contribution. Before you, I believe, is a pre-completed change of resolution to get this adjusted. However, per PERF, I cannot go back and ask any employees to pay back the last 4 months that have been paid out. So going forward, once we get it changed, it will be the 3% coming out of the employee paycheck. Just making you aware.
Thank you.
So that will need to be signed tonight, and then it'll take PERF anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to get that entered into the system and corrected.
Point of information, if I may. So do we need to actually move this resolution in council in order for it to be appropriately considered legal?
Wouldn't hurt, probably.
I think we should.
I agree.
So I'm going to move the resolution that we have here at the table. It's identified in the Indiana Code as 5-10.2-32, and also Indiana Code 35-11 per the recital. Move that for approval.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
I call for the question.
Discussion?
No more discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Newtown, oh, I'm sorry. Are you done, Angela? Newtown Business, Food Bank lease agreement. I don't know if you've had, hopefully you all have had time to go through it. I seen the number 2 came to me because when I looked over number 2, it came up as a red flag to me because we, when I was on town council and we did this originally, we decided not to do a 5-year lease. We did a 1 year at a time lease to not burden another council if we had a total change of council and set them up for something they may not want to do. So I think I just showed that to our attorney, by the way. So I'm thinking that we at least need to do that. We need to change that to a 1-year lease. And number 11, something else I just brought up to David's attention, the property loss or damage. if I'm reading that,
Greg, I'm not troubled by that.
Okay,
That just has to do with rights had between the tenant and the landlord. It doesn't put any.
okay,
any
I
liability
interpret it a
on
little different way, that's why I brought it to your attention. I just didn't want us to be liable for something that all we're doing is contributing
Correct.
to something, and we're not managing, we're contributing.
that. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and other than that, I don't see any problem with it.
Mr. President,
I
Mr.
take
President?
it you've been through this already, right? Excuse me, John.
No, that's fine.
You've been through it already?
Yes.
And everything looks kosher except for,
Yeah, but if you are concerned about that timeframe, then now's the time to,
that's what
yeah.
I was going to make a motion that we accept as is, with the amended on number 2 as 1 year instead of 5.
Yeah, that would be, that works.
And then.
So
open
that, this is
discussion.
gonna be a yearly thing, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, unless the 4 of you, want to override what my suggestion is and go with the 5-year, that's fine.
About that, maybe like a 3 or something, because, I mean, I
It's
think it's good.
Totally acceptable. The only reason we didn't do 5 is because
I understand.
it took us out of our 4-year span and into another council.
I agree 100% with that.
Thank you.
3 or 4 is,
I don't know that it's a huge deal, there's a 60-day out clause in there, from my understanding.
Well,
Is it just on the one side? That's what I was trying to follow.
the out clause refers to the rights of the landlord and tenant, and we're none of the above, we're just a guarantor.
Okay,
So it doesn't really give up that
so,
paragraph 13 doesn't really give us a right to bail.
may I ask? Sorry.
Go ahead.
If, since we're just a guarantor, if the lease is for 5 years, if the other party has approved the lease for 5 years and we don't, what does that do?
I would assume, certainly means we're not committed any longer than we committed for, and I would, as I read it, I think the best reading is it's not a done deal until everybody's approved the same form of agreement.
So what happened in the past, Tyler, was they said that they would just have to come back to us every year, and that's why we're back again this year.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that there wasn't some,
Nope, just, and,
I mean, I see on this, for instance, that, Cedar Creek has signed it, and if we approve something different, they may have to sign a different version of it.
well,
That's, neither here nor there.
no, it's not really.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
So, if we keep with the current language at 5, realizing, and I understand the issue of the 4-year situation, because one council can.
Well, you were on the council then and decided the same thing, if you remember, right?
Yes, sir. And can you continue with what I was saying? I got a cold, I'm sorry. So it seems to me that obviously one council cannot bind another council, and that's your concern, I'm sure. If we stay with this 5-year though, now this is where I want David's input. So do we have an out clause or not if we went to out before the 5 years? Yes or no? We're still locked in. Okay, that's the way I read it too. So, but the good thing is we lock in a rent that's not going to change for for 5 years. There's that value. Would you recommend that we go to a 4-year situation with the new council coming in? Because to me, it doesn't bother me that you go back and you ask another party that's already signed this thing, maybe didn't think about these things in the same way.
Sure.
It would be okay with me if they had to go back and sign something else again. I think they would.
Or even in this case, their government isn't the same as ours. The first entity that signed this is not built like we are. They're a different entity, they're totally driven differently as far as their makeup.
Well, they still have the same legal authority though as far as contracts are concerned, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't have any problem.
That's not what I'm saying. That's fine.
I could see us going to 4 if you wanted to do that in order to lock in a rate, if you guys think the rate's good.
well,
through the end of 2026.
well, that's what my concern is.
even locking in a rate, I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
If they wanna come back, because we're doing it yearly, and try to jack it up on us later. I doubt that they would, I know where it's at and the people, but
Well, okay,
I'd agree
so
with
the
that.
way I feel about that is, we have the option not to participate then,
we do, but, I mean, the food bank's pretty important.
The
I
food
think
bank's
a 3
very
or 4
important.
years would be.
But you're gonna have other people that are locked in at a different time frame. I don't see them doing that to us.
I don't either, but
Yeah,
things happen.
Are you open to an amendment, Mr. President?
that's why I
don't think
pointed it
there's a
out.
motion yet, is there?
No.
No, there's no motion, but that's why I pointed it out the way I
Are
did.
you open to an amendment?
Yeah, that's
So,
why we're discussing
I'm
this.
gonna make a motion that we amend this to read 4 years instead of 5. In terms of the document that you have before you.
Three at this time, because,
The three of us could be off in
we would be
2027.
off in 4 years.
May I withdraw that again since there's no, okay?
It's
So
not that big,
I
yeah.
move to amend it to read 3 years then.
That's fine.
That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So, I take, then, you guys can you reword that, or do you wanna reach out to, the other entity and let them know that what we decided? Thank you.
And Greg, you're authorized to sign it as soon as it comes back.
Right, thank you. Okay, Pioneer Village permanent speed bump discussion. So, this, I guess to go back and put this all in perspective, we were contacted, and I've never seen the number of emails, but we were contacted by several people, I guess, talk to our town manager and wanted speed bumps put into Pioneer Village, which we did put 2 in. I think 1 came up missing, correct?
No, we put one in and it came up missing.
One came, well, that's not even good odds in it. One went in and 1 went out. So, so now we're looking at the option of, putting in permanent speed bumps because the same people are still coming back. I was contacted by some of you in the audience, and, my recommendation to you was to go to your HOA and have a show of hands in your HOA and see if it's a yay or a nay going forward. Obviously, we wanna do what you guys want. So, I don't know if that's what you did, or if it was such a short span from some of our conversations that you didn't have time to do that yet.
It's no on the HOA.
Do you
I'm
have-
sorry, what?
In Pioneer Village homeowners, there was no discussion on the speed bumps.
No, there wasn't anything.
Then there
There was
needs,
no notice that went out for it that I was aware of, and, you know, we're.
Who's-
But you're missing-
managed by above and beyond.
but you're missing my point. My point was that we just had these phone calls in the last 2 weeks, and my suggestion was to call your HOA together. If it's this month or next month, you need to do that, so we know which direction to head. We're not gonna make a decision on this tonight. We
Okay,
want
we
your
were told-
input.
We were told that it's city streets and it was your call, so the HOA is out of it.
Above and beyond sent out an email.
Sir, if you wanna talk, you gotta come up front. Did you sign up?
I did. Stephen Showers. Above and beyond sent out an email to residents of Pioneer Village telling us that you would be discussing the speed bump and that if we care about that, we should come to the meeting tonight. So that's why I'm here.
So I'm telling you the direction that when I was talking to people on the phone, which way to go. So, and then I hope you're hearing what I'm saying, is that unless somebody up here wants to, rebuttal this, we wanna listen to what you have to say, so that there's advantage in numbers. So we wanna hear the yay or the nay.
So do you have an association president, I'm assuming?
Yes, but he's not here.
Okay.
Okay,
Are you guys aware of all the concerns, why it's just being discussed?
No, not really.
Okay, well, let's start there, I guess. She's taken multiple calls of kids speeding and speeding and speeding. He cannot enforce it. Is there lots of speeding back there?
When I sit there,
Yeah.
nobody speeds, but that's
Yeah,
something there.
and running the stop signs, I've seen it, and speed bumps don't make me a ton of difference. But if kids are at jeopardy, then that's why it's being brought up. And again, this says discussion, and that's all this is.
yeah.
So I'm glad everybody's here, I love it,
Yeah.
actually.
Second meeting.
It's nice to have people here.
So speeding is the number one issue, why it's being discussed. What is your guys' solution to fix that?
Are you talking one street?
Yeah, the main road is the one I get most of the complaints on, where people are cutting through, and it happens, most of the calls center around school pickup and drop-off times. Pardon me?
Can you speak up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, most of the calls that I received involved school children, and it involved mornings and afternoons when the school is, before and after school, and I've just had numerous complaints of near misses. Just like 2 weeks ago, I got another one. I saw a little girl almost get hit, somebody said, and so when I talk to people who live in the cul-de-sacs, they tell me no problem, but the people on the main road, several of them have called with concerns about children's safety. And that's what brought this up. And when we put the temporary speed bump in, I got calls the first day thanking me for putting it in, and then if you who didn't want it there,
They took it.
and yeah.
It's
So-
gone. Someone has it as pie hanging on their garage wall.
so-
$350 or $400 your tax dollars gone.
So that's what prompted the more permanent solution. It's an effort to make it safer for children. I do want to mention, if I may, that a year from now, when we're under construction on Amstutz Road, and that road is essentially closed, the pedestrian traffic will increase in that neighborhood. NDOT has set that as a pedestrian detour for people who can't walk on Amstutz. And I would not be surprised if you see a lot more traffic cutting through, even if the preferred detour is to go around one all the way around. I think you're going to see more traffic, and it's another reason I think we should be concerned about speeding.
That's a good point.
Steven?
So I just want to make sure you understand, we're not here to do something tonight that, again, it's in your court to get your association together and come back with some numbers and give us an idea of which direction you want us to go. If it's 1% that wants speed bumps and, 99% that don't want it, I mean, it's a no-brainer. But that's what's going on tonight. So if you didn't get the word out, that's not my fault. I gave the suggestions out there. If they didn't make it out there,
I want to hear what this man has to say,
Yeah.
understand it.
Again, Stephen Showers, apologize for the voice.
Sir,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
okay, thank you.
Stephen Showers, live on Settlers Trail, right inside the Hostler Road entrance, by the association trail that crosses the street there. I have 6 children, ranging in age from almost 1 year old to 12 years old. And so we spend a lot of time reminding our children to look both ways before they cross the street. There are a number of families that live right around us with children as well. We all share the same concern. I work remotely most of the time from home, from my home office. The front window overlooks the street. I also have observed cars driving what seems fast throughout different times of the day. I inquired after the speed bumps disappeared and learned that there are opinions on both sides of the matter. I work in real estate, and on our team, I'm the data guy, because I'm just a nerd like that. So opinions don't help very much in discussions like this, but data does. So I bought a radar gun, and I sat out in front of my house at various times of the day, clocking speeds, to learn about speed in Pioneer Village. I have 3 key insights that I want to share with you from what I learned. The first one is this: 20 miles an hour feels really fast when you're a pedestrian and a 4,000-pound car is coming towards you. You could probably relate to that, right? It feels really fast. 20 miles. I was surprised to clock cars going 20 miles an hour and to see how fast that feels when I'm just there. So that's observation number 1. Observation number 2 is that many who travel Settlers Trail drive between 19 and 25 miles an hour. I'm thankful that our little town is such that most people travel at least fairly close to the speed limit.
What was that percent again?
So I don't have a percentage, I have video that I recorded every time I sat out there. If you'd like to have the video and analyze it further, I'd be glad to share it. Doesn't have license plates, even though my boys thought that was an essential part of the process. But I do have video of the number reads on the radar gun and cars driving by. Observation number 3. There are, unfortunately, people who travel Settlers Trail above 30 miles an hour. The posted speed limit is 20. I clocked a truck that went through past my house at 37 miles an hour. Now 20 feels fast. 37 is almost double the speed limit. In a place where children and walkers are making their way through the neighborhood. I've also heard that it's just teenagers. I have video evidence that it's not just teenagers. It is also more than likely at least the generation of the parents of the teenagers too. So it's not just teenagers. It's different people in our neighborhood, people cutting through our neighborhood that exceed the speed limit.
You collected this data over what period of time again?
I did it a couple of times last week. I did it over the weekend. I did it for a while yesterday, and I did it for a while today.
Thank you.
I have video for each of those. Now, do I want to drive over a speed bump every day? No. Do I want to drive my Trans Am muscle car over a speed bump? That thing sits low to the ground. No, I don't want to drive over a speed bump. But I also don't want to walk out there and pick a kid up off the street and help load them into an ambulance. That's what I have to share with you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, very, very well done.
Thank you. There's our best data we've gotten so far.
So is there anybody else out there that signed up to talk about this?
I'd like
Come forward. Ma'am, did you sign up?
She did.
Thank you very much.
You might want to explain it, it's the long.
My name is Irene Winkler, I live on Bobcat Trail, and I'm the first house in from Matea. And all of a sudden, one day, we have a stop sign 3 houses from this first stop sign to the next stop sign. And it's a dead-end street, and nobody contacted us that there was gonna be another stop sign 3 houses from the first stop sign. So a Bobcat, you come down from Settlers Trail, and then you got a stop sign, then you got Matea and another stop sign. Well, when you put in the speed bumps on that short time, we have the traffic coming up Bobcat because there was no speed bumps. So does that mean you're gonna put up speed bumps on Bobcat too? I mean, there's gotta be a way to maybe catch some of these speeders. I'm home all the time, and I'm out and about, and I'm sure that, I know there are some speeders, because I see them coming through the stop sign just before you get to Matea also, which the neighborhood up there hates that stop sign. And it's at a dead-end street on the other way, it's only 5 houses on the street, either side. But I'm concerned about the people in the golf carts. You're gonna go over those speed bumps and you're gonna pitch one of those kids out. And that's not gonna be a good situation. I'm totally against them. I was one of the ones that went up and down it, and I did call the office. I didn't have anything to do with taking them up. I was glad to see them gone. I think they're more of a hazard in such a small area as Pioneer Village. You've got stop signs everywhere. To me, catch those, get some of the speeders. I have noticed that when I'm out and it's school time, because there's a school bus picks it up right at the corner of Matea, and it drops them off at Pioneer Creek Court, and it also drops them off at Hostler. And I have found during the school bus pickup and drop off, I think people are pretty careful about the children. You gotta keep the children off the streets though too. And anyway, I'm totally against the speed bumps on
Well,
that
thank
one
you.
road.
Thank you very much. And also remember, when you get that email from your association, show up to the meeting and voice your concern at the meeting. Okay? Thank you.
I did get 2 notices about the meeting tonight.
I'm
So
talking
they
about
just sent
your.
you guys here.
Excuse me, I'm talking about your association meeting. Because if you didn't, if you didn't understand what I was talking about earlier, the ball's in your court. You guys have to get together and
Do
hopefully.
we ever have an association meeting?
Ma'am, I don't have a clue, but you got an HOA. So that's what we're
I know,
asking you to
they're
do.
worthless.
Okay? Well, that's your
We've had
deal.
trouble with it before.
Maybe you should run for president and
Yeah.
improve it.
That's okay, I'll-
There you go.
Thank you.
Is anybody else?
Yeah, I want to talk.
Come on, Kevin.
All right. I'm Kevin Beach, and like him, I'm somewhat of a nerd as well. Dad guy from my business days. So I look at plans. I hear speed bumps, but I don't hear any plans, just about putting speed bumps in. So, I mean, what are you talking about? Are you looking at putting in 2, 4, 8, how many? Because just a couple speed bumps doesn't solve the problem. It only solves the problem for where that speed bump's at. Then they race from one speed bump to the next. Now, like I said, I've lived in that neighborhood for 17 plus years. The problem today isn't any worse than it was years ago. It's the same cycle, kids get their license, and he's right, it's just not kids, it's everybody. And pretty much nobody in this room, I would venture to guess, has always drove 100% of the time at or below the speed limit. That said, safety was always a big issue for me when I sat on this council. So I'd like to see a plan. Speed bumps don't necessarily lend itself very advantageous to clearing snow, so that can create a different issue. So the devil's always in the detail. And for every action, there's a reaction. So I don't want to see anything rush forward. Safety issue does need to be addressed, but our community in that street is not the only one in the town that has a speeding issue. So where are you using our tax dollars? Are you using them effectively and efficiently around the town? If I recall, Matea used to have, or Lionsgate used to have speed bumps, I believe. And for some reason, I think they took them out. I think years ago they had them. I think that was before you moved in. I could be wrong. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm not telling you not to put them in or to put them in, but I want to see a comprehensive plan of what we're going to do with our tax dollars. And are we just isolating Pioneer Village because that's the squeaky wheel?
No.
We got 'em all
We're
around
getting
the town.
calls. We're getting calls from Matea.
Right.
We're getting calls from other areas of the town.
So what streets and what neighborhoods and other
Well,
areas
it's
of
gonna
town? I mean,
depend
this is a comprehensive, potentially a comprehensive issue.
Kevin, it's real easy. Right now, whatever comes back from you people meeting is probably how we move forward.
Well, it should only have some input on how you move forward, because this is a town issue, which is a council purview. It's not just a homeowners association, because it's a town-wide issue if you're getting complaints across the town.
Well, Pioneer Village is the one that started this ball rolling.
Correct.
So Pioneer Village is the one we're dealing with now.
I understand that.
And so when Pioneer Village comes back and says, we find that we don't want speed bumps, then we probably won't act on it. You know, it would be discussion, and then maybe we will, maybe we won't, but probably we wouldn't. That'd be my guess. But even if we did, we would probably ask for a few people from Pioneer Village to help figure out where these speed bumps need to go. That's not suitable either?
Do what?
Is that suitable?
Well, I don't know if anyone living in the neighborhood's a traffic expert. You know, I mean,
It's hard to please you.
well, I know.
It's very hard.
So I just want to see details, one way or the other, whether it's from our homeowners association, which we need to contact the members and say, hey, we need to have follow-up meetings on this subject.
So-
But again, I just want to make sure everybody in here knows, this isn't just Pioneer Village.
Oh, no.
We know that.
Yeah.
We're very aware of that.
Yeah. But all I've been hearing,
But that's what we're dealing with right now.
you should be dealing with
No,
everything.
no, we're not. We're
Why?
dealing, Because we're giving you a chance to have a voice, Kevin. Why can't you see that?
No, I understand that, I appreciate that. but
Okay.
You're not gonna address just Pioneer Village without addressing the same issue around the whole town, right?
If we're hitting hot spots right now is what we're
Okay,
doing.
all right, fair enough, that's good. All right.
And, excuse me, and we put them in Apple Acres also.
I'm sorry.
We put some in Apple Acres also.
Oh,
When
okay.
the complaints were coming in for the
Yep.
school buses, the roads were closed, so we put 2 sets in Apple Acres, and we had 3, so when the complaints started coming for Pioneer Village,
Oh, you took one out, and that's the one that got
no,
shut.
we had 3 sets, so
Oh.
we put one in there, and it lasted a day. I removed the ones in Apple Acres, we still have those.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right.
Keep going.
So now we're
No.
using
Okay,
speed.
so what I was gonna do is, I think it would be good to hear from Mr. Whitmer if he's
Well,
comfortable
I
with this in
guess a
regards
couple
to-
things here. First of all,
Hang on, in regard to specific, whatever else you're gonna say, but in regard to that special kind of bump. that we
yes,
talked about,
okay.
It
So-
deals with the snow plowing issue.
Yes, so, in my everyday job, I deal with street maintenance and stuff like that. So one of the things that I discussed last meeting, and obviously you guys weren't here, was doing it, in Fort Wayne, they use the term, I'll use, I'll call them a tabletop speed bump. I don't know if you guys know what those are. So basically, it extends your speed bump, so it gives you a vertical, or it gives you an up, and then it's about 4 to 5 foot wide across the top, and then a down. A lot of times you see them, there's several places in Fort Wayne that have them, typically where heavy pedestrian traffic is at, but not at an intersection, right? So you put them where they'd make sense to both handle foot traffic and to slow cars down. The downside is it takes like a 10-foot swath to get one speed bump in, so it drives the cost up. But the upside is it's easier for snow plowing maintenance. It's easier. It gives you more of a little bit higher rise, so the cars have to slow down a little bit more to get to them. So you can look them up. They using them all over Florida and all over Indiana. Actually, I mean, I think Fort Wayne I know have had 3 sets. I think in the last time I knew. IPFW campus uses them on their campus as well to slow cars down as they're traveling across the campus. Speed bumps in the original form, where you come up, 3 inches or 4 inches and then right back down over 1 foot, is not a wise move. Hard to maintain, really hard on cars, really hard on cars. Where this here would be a wider span that would allow you to come up, go over, and then come back down a slight bit gradual. You know what I mean? So that's the.
Thank you for that input.
Yeah, so that's the kind of unit we're looking at, if they go through it all. My other suggestion was gonna be that we just ordered signs, and I'm assuming those said signs are not in yet.
They arrived yesterday.
So maybe we go ahead and drop some of those on out there, because we can chain them.
Pioneer Village or
Huh?
just along the way?
I would probably put one on the main drag, maybe coming from one from each direction, so we can kind of, and I think those collect data if I'm not.
With Andrew, I guess, or
Yeah, I believe those signs collect data, and hopefully we can pull those data, and I'm not sure if Rex collects data or not, but maybe we,
Rex does.
so maybe we can put Rex over in Matea.
Data too, Rex.
Yeah, so maybe we can get data from a large variety of places between there and Matea and see what the speed actually is, and maybe this is a null point and we don't even need to be talking about it. But obviously we have some concern, so.
Well, and to our first speaker's point, he is correct. I'm retired, so I'm home all day long. too.
All right.
And it happens throughout the day.
Correct.
And I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here telling you I am. And obviously, like any other speeding zone anywhere around town or any other
Right.
town or city, there's peak times.
Correct,
And
that's right, so.
So,
But I think if we get enough data on this, we should be able to make an honest and open decision, and I don't have a problem sharing it with you guys. I mean, if we're seeing 75% of the folks driving through there speeding, then obviously we have an issue that
yeah,
we need to figure out something to do with it.
thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
By the way, Rex is the white portable tow behind speed indicator that you see out every now and then that tells you how fast you're going. For some reason, a long time ago, we named it Rex. I don't know why, but that's his name. So, any more discussion on that? Oh, thank you.
Stephen Showers again. I just have a question seeking clarity. I'm a bit confused as to why the association would need to vote regarding a roadway and pedestrian safety issue. Did the association vote to set the speed limits in Pioneer Village?
No.
So shouldn't
The county did that,
safety,
I believe.
shouldn't pedestrian safety within the neighborhood be decided upon by an entity that is responsible for the safety and the well-being of the citizens in our town?
So you want to take the word, or you want to take the ability to hear the entire Pioneer Village subdivision's views and thoughts, you want to take that away and just have the five of us
You
decide on
actually-
what's going?
You put words in my mouth.
Well, no, I didn't. I'm asking you if that's the
For
clarity.
clarity, we're not talking about a fence in my lawn. We're not talking about the kind of siding I put up on my house. We're not talking about an addition that I'm doing in my home. We're not talking about any landscape changes in addition to a pool.
We know what we're talking about,
anything
sir.
like that.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about here.
We're talking about safety of pedestrians in our community.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
So again, my question, again, is who is the appropriate entity to decide that matter? Is it the town council
It is.
or is it an HOA?
No, it is the town council.
Okay, thank you.
That's my view. While this young
You're
lady-
correct, John, it is the town council. But
Well, this
but
young lady-
how we go about it is a
I get
different,
that.
different way.
Ma'am, before you speak, may I just, may I do that? So, yes, apparently. So,
Yes.
when we gather data from the equipment, I know for years when we only have the one Rex, there was always data available when it worked. And I will say when it worked. And the data that Mr. Veach is referencing, and perhaps anyone else would be thinking, those pieces of equipment are gonna provide council with the guidance that council is gonna need, whether I'm here, it doesn't matter. That data is gonna guide council now. Back.
My name's Ann Kirkwood. I also live on Settlers Trail, but I don't know Mr. Showers. I've never met him before. And I did not know that there were speed bumps going in, but it actually went in right in front of my house. But I wasn't complaining. I had 8 children, one on the way, so soon to be 9 children. And in 1 year, as you mentioned, the construction on Amstutz will be significant, and that will certainly up the traffic through the neighborhood. But I don't understand the logistics of how the speed bump was put in or taken out. Don't you need a special tool to remove that, or?
It was core drilled into the concrete and then lagged into it. So it took a 3/4 inch socket and an impact, 5 bolts in each one, and each one of those weighed 50 pounds. So it wasn't some kids running off with it. That was,
Okay.
they took 5 bolts out of each one, picked up a 50-pound block, and probably put it in the truck.
Right, it seemed like it would have taken a lot of effort.
It took some effort.
Also, the validity of the Pioneer Village HOA, I'm not sure should even be considered legal, because it's been past 20 years or something like that, and unless a majority of the homeowners within the association vote to have that reinstated, it's not, am I wrong? Does anybody know about?
We got 2 more years,
Okay, 2 more years on it.
because we revised it in 2005.
Yes, but the clarification that it is a city street is also helpful in knowing that it might not be completely an HOA issue, so that was good for me. But I just wanted to say out loud that the Kirkwood family would be in favor of a speed bump, permanent or temporary, or, I don't know, maybe you could put dummy children mannequins out there so people could scare somebody or something, but I had no idea they were going in. I've never sent you a complaint. I've never complained, and I do try to keep my children out of the street, but yeah, there's a lot of traffic over there. Car traffic and child traffic, so it's important to me that my kids stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Yoder?
And as far as that goes, we were just talking about it. We haven't even thought about where to put them or anything. This was like entry level, and we were getting this tools to measure data. So, you know, that's just discussion. And I'm glad that your association appointed you here. Come every other week, it would be nice.
I have requested quotes. Brent and I are working on that. We don't have them yet, so that's another reason I had said this would not be a vote, because we don't even know how much. So,
Would NERC be another one that we could utilize to help, like they did on Amstutz Road, help us collect data? Can we reach out to them and help us collect data?
I could certainly do that.
I mean, the more data we have, the better off our decision's gonna be, so.
Right, exactly.
I just have a quick question. Was it the board that decided to put them in? Who made the decision to put them in?
The temporary ones,
Oh.
she makes a temporary one. Who decided to put the temporary speed bumps in? Whose decision was that?
The
Right
town.
here.
The town manager,
Town manager put them
Okay.
Who's the town manager?
in. No, it wasn't me.
me.
You made the
Were you
decision.
pointing at her or me?
They were temporary, yes, I made the
Okay,
decision.
thank you.
But don't you think the association and the homeowners should have a voice in that?
Apparently not. Most your co-worker, co-home people think that it should come up here, although we don't always agree with that. I mean, it would be just another voice that we based, a fact that we could base it off of. Safety's number one. And we're not saying you even need them. We don't have the data. But safety's number one.
The problem is between Bobcat Trail and.
Where you're at's a very unique place. It's the main drag through. That's where all the complaints, Settlers Trail seems to be the major culprit for
We're
this.
using it as a cut through.
Yes,
So,
yes.
And that's what's happening.
Pass through.
so
Shortcut.
when we actually, what even drew us to buying these speed bumps was when we started working on downtown, and all the traffic was going around downtown and through the residential areas. And so we had these speed bumps set up through there because right away people were screaming about the speed bump, or people speeding and blowing the stop signs in town. In the morning, early hours of the morning, when you know how hectic and thick the traffic gets in there. So that's why these were purchased, and that's what they were used as initially. And then after that, it became like Apple Acres, when we received, I don't know how many calls in Apple Acres, but we received a lot. And so that's why they got moved to Apple Acres, and then we received calls about your addition. And obviously, I've said this 3 or 4 times, and that's why we moved there. So, you know.
And originally, they were, I mean, like Apple Acres are removed. They're temporary to control traffic while
Right.
construction's going on, was the whole original purpose.
Right.
Now, the flip side of that is, does Apple Acres probably need them somewhat full-time? Maybe. I mean, it's not uncommon to have a high load of traffic coming through there for school traffic. So, and when the school traffic backs up on Amstutz, everybody turns left on Donald and shoots down Donald to beat the traffic. So, I mean, again, this is a town-wide problem. Pioneer Village was the first one on the list, because the complaints were driving up higher there than we were elsewhere in town. But do we need to look at it elsewhere? Yeah, we need to collect data and do that. So,
Yeah, because you're talking about Short Street versus all of Pioneer Village.
yeah. So we need to figure out, data-wise, we need to collect data, get information, and then we'll have to make an educated decision.
You have anything?
Right here.
Name's Mark Culver. I live on Settlers Trail. You advised us to go to our homeowner association.
Sir, would you do me the favor? of
Yeah,
coming-
can you come up front, please? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
You originally, you just advised us to go to our homeowner association.
I advised 2 people that called me.
I mean, in here you just told us to, that would be, you advised us to go to them.
That, yeah.
So to clarify, should we go to them and voice our opinion? Or, and will that be, in the decision that you make? Like, you're gonna look at data, we're gonna call our association, both of those things you put together for your decision? Is that what
That's my idea.
That's your idea?
That's my idea, and that's what I'm gonna support.
Okay.
You know, obviously, it's a safety issue, and how we handle it is first off, get the data and find out what it is. And then also, I think it's important what the people in your association, I mean, I've said this now, I don't know how many times. I think it's important to give you your voice,
Okay,
okay?
I understand that.
To be-
To the point of a smaller curb, The one that you put in was like a curb, it wasn't a speed bump. Rumble strips maybe, that might be an alternative.
You definitely don't want rumble strips unless you don't want to sleep.
I'm just pushing my opinion.
And the reason I say that is because we've been through this in other places in town. And they've ended up being removed because of noise. That's another.
So to be clear, I think Greg's suggestion to go to the HOA was just a collection point of opinions that would come back as a recommendation from the HOA. Hey, yeah, we want these, or hey, we don't want these. It's not that they're gonna have the final decision on it. It's just was a place for you guys to all give your opinion in a group setting. Does that make sense? It's not that the HOA has the decision, that lays with this board.
But it will contribute to.
But it'll contribute to the decision making. So that was the thought process, to give you guys a place to put all your opinions into one and come out with one recommendation from the HOA. Yes, we want them, or no, we don't. Doesn't mean that, even if they say no, doesn't mean that the data isn't gonna support something different. It's just giving you guys a place to have your opinions.
So do you have the final decision?
This board, yes, Carrie's Streets would have the final decision. Not me personally, the group of us. This isn't a me thing.
So
Do you have
have you
anything?
ever considered
Ma'am?
sending out
Ma'am?
notices?
She's good.
Okay, go ahead.
Send out a notice to all the homeowners regarding a yea or nay, yes or no?
No, it'll be in a public meeting what we do when we collect the data.
She's asking for us to send a poll out. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you have the final decision, but I think you need to have a majority of, opinions
No.
to make a decision.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's feasible. I think we probably need to collect some actual data of the speeding and how bad it is, or it isn't. Maybe it seems like it a lot more versus it is before we go through all that. And if we did, I would recommend Settlers Trail houses the most, because that's where it's happening. Not on the cul-de-sacs, on the side little roads. I think data needs to be collected first, before we go any further. We don't even know where we'd even put them, because we have no data.
I'm just afraid if you go to Settlers Trail, they cut through Bobcat, so then you're dealing with that part of it too.
Yeah, it's never gonna stop. This is not a fix-all to speeding. It will never stop. When every one of us was a kid, speeding was happening, and it will when we're all gone.
Mr. President.
To kind of add to that, I'm sorry,
Thank
didn't mean to
I
interrupt
just
you.
got a quick question. On the data, on the signs that you're talking about getting, what's the timeline for that? And then once you put them in, for how long would you run them to collect?
Well, we got them yesterday, so hopefully they work. We got them yesterday, we're hoping they work.
Okay, so.
I wouldn't expect to probably see them go up till, what, next week? What do you guys have on
You
the
gonna
agenda?
run
They're
it for 30
assembly
days
required.
or 60
We don't know.
We
days?
haven't even got that far.
Okay.
We haven't got that far yet, Kevin.
There's plenty of need for these around town, so I would not expect them to be there super long term. I mean, that'd be my assumption.
Do you-
It needs
But
to be
again, that'll be,
long enough to get a valid sample.
yes,
You know, just
week,
statistically
2 weeks, whatever it
Okay,
takes.
thanks.
So
Yeah, we
I'm
will.
just
What do you think?
curious, can you,
Time.
will the council be publishing, not necessarily the data, but some type of notice that data has been collected?
So I just overheard our resource officer say that you can find out about anything you want to in a week. Is that correct? Okay, so if we get them up on Monday next week and we get them down on Friday, you'd have the
Let's run
data
through the
here
weekend.
in the town office,
Yep.
probably within a day or two.
And there'll be some type of notice that the town has collected data?
Well, you can come in here and ask our town manager, just like you would if you wanted to get some type of information from us, you'd come into the office.
Well, I got information on this.
Or, we can't, I don't know if she can publish that.
Because I called your
There's too
HOA.
Well, I
many
know, but
people.
I mean, try to get data by.
So that would be a good thing
Gentlemen.
to do again.
Mr. President,
That's, yeah,
I believe we'd be wise, just because this is where we are, that we table this discussion until.
we're going to. Yeah, there's no action tonight.
I understand that, but for the public's purpose of understanding, that we would table this discussion tonight until we have data in front of us.
That's right.
And based upon that data that's received, then we'll move forward. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be another public meeting where we pay bills and so forth, just like we are tonight. And as long as the people understand that that's the process, because it's gonna be, we're all about having information from many sources.
I think there's a good chance, at the next meeting, it's in 2 weeks, there's a good chance we'd have that data here.
Look,
No, I think,
Why don't we do it December 5th?
yeah, December 5th, let's table it to December 5th.
Okay.
Is that okay with you guys? Because Thanksgiving, everything else, and it puts a lot of extra work on these gentlemen. December 5th, we'll discuss it again, which will be 4 weeks.
One thing before we table it, you mentioned this has been going on and on. I know from experience, our past resource officer, Corporal Litzenberg, has called out many special traffic enforcements in Pioneer Village in his day. This isn't just happening overnight, it's been going on. Officer Peters, same thing. I hear him calling out stop sign enforcements, speed enforcements in Pioneer Village. So this has been going on a while.
Absolutely.
And to add on to that, Angela, how much extra did I ask for in the budget next year for additional traffic?
You asked for 47, but was approved for 30.
Okay, so we got approved for $30,000 extra next year to have off-duty police officers running traffic that Councilman just brought up for next year. So I'm looking at your faces right now. So it's not like we're not trying to be proactive up here. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you out, and so there's gonna be hopefully change coming in the future. But it's just one of those things. It's gonna take some time.
And also, you said budgeted 30,000 for an off-duty officer or two. That's not many hours a week.
That's right.
I know for a fact.
Yeah.
do we need a motion to table this?
No, we can just consensus it. Okay. Amstutz Road lowering speed discussion.
Do you want me to say?
Yes, I don't.
Okay, so, as you know, I brought this to you because of a couple of calls and a written email, which I gave to you at the last meeting. And I presented you with this, traffic information that came from NERC about it. I spoke today with our attorney, and what we would prefer to do is put all of the changes in traffic ordinance into one ordinance. So if you're moving this next decision, like for Pioneer, to December 5th, maybe that would be a good time for us to just go ahead and have the Amstutz speed change in there and Lakes of Leo. Now, the Lakes of Leo request is not on our agenda, but it would fit into that same ordinance. The thing with Lakes of Leo is that after the town took possession of the streets last year, it was kind of overlooked to put in the stop sign and speed limits. So there's no signs in Lakes of Leo yet at all. So I think what's standard in most of the neighborhoods around here is 25 within the neighborhood, like Pioneer Village. 20, okay. So that'll be up to you. It can't be less than 20 according to Indiana code. And the homeowners association, and they did talk to people on the streets in Lakes of Leo. They only asked for one stop sign. That's at that three-way stop that was mentioned the last meeting. So if you want, before that December meeting, we can prepare the basics of that ordinance so that it's all compiled, and then take it up at that meeting, if you want to do that. Instead of trying to do these all separate and filing them as
There's no rush on it, so yeah. that'd be
separate
good.
Perfect,
ordinances.
thank you.
Yeah.
It will help us, though, if maybe the next meeting we have we know what numbers you're thinking. And like with Amstutz Road, I think the common consensus between a lot of us is that it's 30. So it's, when you're sitting at Hostler and Amstutz and you see 30 in front of you, you'd see 30 beside you, and it would all be consistent.
Are we gonna vacate the when children present signage then?
I think you could put one. But yeah, not have it separate, just
30 mile an hour, because wasn't it 25 when children present or something like that, wasn't that what NERD's study said, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly?
back in the 70s.
Yeah, that was already approved, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure why it would have changed.
I'm assuming the signs got taken down during some road project and
Construction
never
or
went back
something,
up.
yeah.
That's what I assume changed.
Went back up as 40.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we stick with that, that just makes it easier for us to fill in as we create the ordinance.
Simplex alarms for maintenance building.
So yeah, this was brought to our attention that the maintenance building doesn't have any alarm system of any kind.
Thank you for coming, gentlemen.
There's
Yeah, you
no
don't have to
security
leave.
system there.
I know.
And since there's not a security system in the maintenance building, it seems sensible that we go ahead and make sure that happens.
It's Simplex what we do with everything else, yeah.
And so they gave us a quote, and you can see they quoted it separate for fire and for the overall security system. So the grand total of the entire agreement would be, $2,100 to put in the security alarm, $3,800 to put in the fire alarm, and then with the annual monitoring fees, or monthly monitoring fees, comes out to $6,020 for installation and $104 a month in monitoring.
That's strictly for the maintenance.
Just the maintenance
facility.
building.
And is that just electronic monitoring, or is there cameras also?
I think it's like what we have here.
Okay,
Just electronic.
just on the doors.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Are we having, if I may ask, are we having any problems with potential break-ins or vandalism? I'm not aware of any if we are.
Not right now, no. Not
To
that
our
I'm-
buildings
Right.
or in town?
No,
Not yet, but
To our buildings?
to
we've
our,
had a
to
lot
our
of money
buildings.
sitting over there.
I'm sorry, please say that again.
We haven't had any problem with theft yet, but we do have a lot of money sitting there.
Well, I think we need an alarm system. Are we stuck on Simplex, or is this just because that's who we have?
It's because it's who we have, and when they did their annual inspection, they offered to quote this when I asked why we didn't have anything in the maintenance building.
We just have a local guy that's priority one monitoring, same thing. Maybe it's cheaper or better or nothing, I don't know.
Well, the question is, at that dollar amount, do we need to get a second quote? I mean,
No, I don't think so. I think it's $8,000, isn't it, John?
Well, it doesn't hurt to keep someone honest.
yeah, that's,
Well, your,
I don't know
your
this
fronting
is-
cost, your capital fronting, your fronting cash flow is 60/20, obviously. And then you got another $1,200 and so dollars, obviously, for annual maintenance. The question, I guess, the one I want to think about, are we not insured for the contents that we have in there? I believe that we do have appropriate insurance on the contents. And if that's true, I'm not concerned about that. Personally, I'm more concerned about, we've obviously got insurance on the building. And if we get insurance on the contents, then maybe all we really need is some form of monthly monitoring on break-ins and things of that nature, if the rest of the council thinks that way. I'm not so sure we need to do all of that expenditure right now. Of course, if you have a fire, then later on you go, I wish you had it, I get that, so. I'm done. Food for thought.
I'd recommend you get a second quote, at least one more quote, just so we're sure to be comparing apples to apples. I don't think that's hard or bad to keep everybody on the same page.
I like
I
that.
agree.
I like that.
I think we need the coverage.
So I move we table this until we get a second quote.
Okay,
That's my motion,
general consensus?
Yes.
or
Okay.
consensus if you will. I withdraw
Community
my
crossing,
motion.
I'm sorry, John, what?
I said I withdraw my motion if we have consensus.
That's fine. Community crossing 2024-01 Tar Lakes and Brighton Park.
Okay, so this is, I basically, we had separate things going here. I went to Stormwater Board with Brent, and we had looked at some broken drains, and there's, I don't know, 6 to 10 broken drain tiles and manholes over on those streets.
They're causing a lot of cracking and damage, just a few broken curbs. And we got a couple of quotes, or actually we only got one quote, even though we asked for half a dozen, on fixing just the manholes. And upon looking at it further, and the stormwater board agreed, but that would be, they were having us get those quotes. So we're okay with the stormwater board paying for that part. But then we were talking about the next community crossings round, it's in January, and we can make bigger cuts around those drains and fix other cracking and other damage in the road where some of them are uneven. And these are concrete roads, a lot of them, and they bump and it's kind of bad. So we were thinking that combining road project with the storm drainage project at the same time, we could get more accomplished, take advantage of the 75% match from community crossings and tie the projects together into one project. And then the stormwater board could pay for the drainage section and our MVH funds could pay for the community crossings piece of the roads, and we would actually get a bigger project done for less money by packaging them together. So I'm just seeking permission to use our on-call agreement with ERI to have them help me create the application and the form for the quantities and measuring the concrete and all of that we have to do for the application in January. There's, I think Derek agreed, there's not a lot of engineering in this project. It's much more of calculations and quantities and amounts and everything we have to do. For the application to.
I was gonna say, are we going back concrete then? Is that what the plan is, to pull concrete, go back, or are we gonna go back?
That would be the wisest thing to do. It's a low volume street, it's showing, distress just because of its age. Probably isn't a whole lot of stone underneath it, but it would be it'd be a significant investment to replace it.
Okay.
So we just cut and patch.
Okay.
And that's what we did last time.
Yeah, and the patches that were done on that roadway are holding the wall.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so
We did that on
some of these
Martin
would
Court
connect.
as well.
Yeah, and some of these would connect to those patches where like it's good and then bad, you know what I mean? We'd be extending the life there.
Okay.
What else are we doing with that? Community crossing?
Well, that's my request, is permission
Just-
to have them do that engineering side of it for us. So I can get them started, it'd take them a couple months probably, and the application's in January.
Mr. President, are you open to a motion?
Yeah, and, go ahead, John.
So my motion is that we employ ERI to aid our town manager in developing a community crossing grant application as identified on our
Second?
agenda form.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anywhere else in town that we need to be doing, other than just there, that we need to be applying for a grant?
Is that one of the worst spots, right?
Yeah, you have your 5-year asset management plan that I think Tina went over with you a couple meetings ago. I would use that as your template for picking your next.
But since we have Amstutz Road, Cedar Creek Trail, and the Grable Bridge project, all are falling, they're all committed funds. So we kind of took, I'd say, a lesser cost of our future community crossings potential for this year, and that way we don't go, that way we have some room in the budget for potential changes in our other projects that are out there. But yeah, after 24, that plan is already sort of in place
Okay.
going forward.
Okay, thank you. Next is discussion about a special meeting for November 16th for open the Amstutz Road bids.
So yeah, on the 15th, NDOT.
16th.
Yes, so on the 15th, NDOT will open the bids for the Amstutz Road project. It's
Okay.
being advertised right now. And he being the program director, asked us to turn around an answer in 24 hours for the Amstutz Road bids. Obviously, it's NDOT run, and they'll expect us to take a good low bid. So it should only be a 5 or 10 minute meeting, I would think. But they did ask us to call a special meeting just to have that decision.
Okay, so has anybody got any time, like in the middle of the day they could make, or on like a lunch hour? Or Anything, or do you want a morning or an evening?
Evening.
Evening?
I usually get up at 5
In the evening.
in the morning.
Oh. That'd be the only other option, but.
Slacker?
So what, next week, Thursday?
Yeah.
I had my second cup of coffee.
Is that time to get, it should be, we can get it announced,
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's a week away, a week from Thursday.
Let's see, hang on a second here. That's the 16th?
Yeah.
So
That's a
pick that
Thursday.
date.
I'm
It's
out,
24 hours
I'm
after.
out already till
Oh.
6:30 that night.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, you wanna call it a 7 o'clock meeting and just,
It's the only thing that's on the agenda, correct?
right,
Let's do 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock and be done with it.
okay.
I don't have a problem with
You're the one with the schedule, so.
I'm sorry, I'm
No,
already,
that's fine, 7's fine.
that. Yeah.
okay.
That's what works.
You know,
It's going to be 7 then?
yes, let's do 7 o'clock. I don't wanna move people around. If that's all right with you guys.
Sure.
It's fine.
I've got flexibility,
Okay.
some level.
Okay. Okay, now, old and unfinished business. We got ordinance 2023-08 petition to rezone, 22.328 acres of Leo Holding LLC. So, get the final petition.
So we have brought back, the ordinance now has been updated to include reference to the agreement that you wanted from the owner of the property, confirming 38 lots and no more in R3 zoning. And we updated the language stating that there were 2 public hearings instead of just 1. So the ordinance is essentially the same. And you have before you in your packet a copy of the written commitment from the property owner showing you what he would commit to and record with the plat, or with the deed. Yeah, he'd record it with the deed along, and then we would record the rezoning, so they would, they'd be filed simultaneous, basically, same time frame.
So ordinance 2023-08 did not update the whereas, it still says 44 residential lots on our side.
No, I don't, this one says 38.
This one says 44.
This one says 44.
The written,
No, wait. Read carefully. It says Leo Plan Commission recommended 44. That's true. That happened. That's from the minutes.
oh,
Then it goes down.
down
and
here's
says
38,
the
sorry
cons-
about that, I
Yeah.
see it now.
And that, you had me scared for some, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, but that did happen.
All right, yep, the second whereas, my
Yeah.
apologies.
That's okay.
Mr. President?
Anybody, everybody had time to read it and go through it correctly? Okay.
Mr. President?
You want to entertain a motion, John?
No, I want to make a statement.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
May I do that?
Yeah.
All right, so, to Mr. Kuhn, I need to just simply address you and simply say, I think you're an honorable man. I think you've got a great project, all that, but I'm going to be a no tonight, only because I thought it should be R2, and I have to stand by my conviction on that, because I believe you would have done an R2, and it would have been in your favor. I think you're going to have a great subdivision, and I believe the rest of the council is going to vote yes, but on principle, I'm not going to vote to approve this, but I believe the rest of the council probably will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion from somebody that, to adopt this ordinance.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2023-08 as agreed upon last meeting, and now adjusted in this ordinance, correct?
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Call for the question, all in favor?
Aye. That will be a no, based on what I said.
And 1 no.
Okay, and then, are you signing that? Here's my certificate. That.
Okay.
And this is signed.
ADA curb ramps for Amstutz Road pedestrian detour.
Well, we asked an awful lot of companies for quotes on these ADA ramps. I'm amazed we got 2. So they are before you. Just as for the crowd's reference, this is part of the Amstutz Road reconstruction project, and as required by NDOT, in order to divert pedestrian traffic into Pioneer Village, we have to make the corners ADA compliant. So this is part of that project for next year, is to make the ramps come down at the proper slope and have the right pads at the end of at the corners. And these are covered wagon and trading post. And what's the other one? Pioneer Trail and covered wagon. Those are the 2 intersections.
Did Myers Concrete not want to bid?
I reached out to them, they did not want to.
Cool.
I only have 1 bid in my packet. Is that the only one we got?
Dean's Lawn and
We have 2.
Jonas Iker.
Dean's Lawn for $7,970 and Jonas Iker for $11,376.46.
Well, I didn't read into that because I was thinking Dean Lawn Service. Why would we have lawn service with an ADA?
He pours concrete pretty regularly.
I guess. So that's 2 bids then?
Yeah, and Dean's, the owner, he did come and talk to me about this project before he quoted. He seemed to have a good grasp on what needed to be done, and says he's done a whole lot of ADA ramps. And so I feel like the low bid would be an acceptable bid.
I'm assuming we would, so we don't end up with the same issues we ended up with downtown, go back and have to double check the work before we accept, is that?
Yeah, it'd be good to check their forms before they pour,
Okay.
as a courtesy of the contract.
Is that something we're gonna do in-house, or is that something that we would look for?
We can talk to Brent.
Brent
see
can-
what's comfortable with, and-
If not, Derek's time.
Brent, is that something you'd be comfortable with doing?
Sure, I mean, we definitely have to get caught up to all the standards.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share that with you.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good.
And I know Derek would like to help.
Yes, yeah, and like I said, Dean has done, last year he did 300 of them plus for the city of Fort
Oh,
Wayne.
yeah, that's.
Oh, Dean did?
Yeah, they're good.
Okay,
He does a lot,
You
but
know,
all right.
okay.
Thank you for checking that out.
Mr. Whitmer, do you-
Appreciate your hard
you
work.
move on that? You gotta-
I'll move on to $7,970 then.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I was the second.
Mr. John is the second. Okay. Town manager's report.
Okay, where to begin? All right, first point, I already mentioned to you that I met with the attorney about bringing you the traffic ordinances all at one time. And I also mentioned to you, NDOT, a conversation we had about speeding downtown. And they said they have looked at this several times and they have very strict rules on this. And the only thing they would consider at this point is suggesting we put in an NDOT compliant speed sign between the bridge, you know, where people cross to come into downtown and downtown. And he said it has to be permanent, so the ones that we purchased that can be moved around town don't qualify. It can't have any words like when we can type slow down on it, it can't be like that. It has to be very specific to what they approve. Those individual ones they have that are specific are like $4,000 to $6,000. They can't be removed because they find that when you remove the speed sign, people start speeding again. They're only effective when they're in place, according to NDOT data. So, I just wanted to put that out to you. I'm not suggesting we vote for this right now, but that was the only suggestion when we talked about the speed of traffic on one.
So how far are we, I noticed it said something about traffic counts. How far are we off the traffic counts we need to make it, to get the other stop sign?
So it had a stop sign at Walnut and 1 would mean that Walnut would need to have significantly equivalent traffic to 1 to make it a viable NDOT stop sign.
There ain't nobody gonna approve that.
It won't have.
I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to know.
He said something about the traffic from both ways has to be so busy that you have to have a stop sign.
I have some information I would simply share on that topic. Council needs to make sure that any signs that are changed, or even those that are in place, have enforceable ordinances already in place. We can't just put up signs because we know that might be a good place. We literally have to have ordinances that work to cover this. Otherwise, you can't prosecute anything else on a ticket or anything of that nature to make it stick.
Yes, and since it's NDOT's road, it would be NDOT who puts in the stop signs, and so he was very friendly with me. We have a nice, comfortable dialogue when we're talking about these things, but it's not exactly feasible, and the only thing we could do is the speed sign. Given we just bought them,
It says enter into an interlocal. Does that mean that?
we'd have to have an interlocal agreement. We would buy the sign. We would
That's
put
nice
it
of
where
them.
they tell us. Right, that's the.
Might be condo there, isn't it?
We'd buy the sign, they'd tell us where it goes. They would let us put it on their right of way,
Oh, that's nice of them.
yeah, and then we would manage it and maintain it.
That's no different
I know,
than buying salt from them and stuff like that.
I understand. It's just,
I know, I get
it's,
it.
it's silly.
Maybe
Is
we
what
put
it
a
is.
speed bump in.
Yeah.
On 1,
Oh, yeah. It's totally true.
so,
Maybe we can contract the person that stole ours out of Pioneer Village just to put it down.
so I wanted to run this past you. If you want me to pursue it, I can go out and get quotes on that sign and find out what that would be.
I think,
I mean, unfortunately, I think we have to do something. I think it's like Pioneer Village that we're getting enough complaints, and I don't know. Greg, you look out there every day and you see it.
I can't even tell you how many times I get people walking in that door, either going back to the salon or coming in the barber shop, telling me, you know, what are we gonna do? I can't even walk across the street. I can't do this, I can't do that. I almost got hit with my dog the other day. It's a weekly basis. I'm not even gonna stretch it to the imagination, I'm saying a daily basis, but every week, somebody comes in.
As much as I think their
And
request is kind of silly, because I know that
I mean, even Brian was down there for the festival, that fall festival we had that afternoon, that rainy afternoon. And he even mentioned to me, he's like, man, where are you down there, 2 hours, 3 hours at the most?
4 hours.
And he had his eyes opened up. I mean, it's like, yes, ma'am.
I think I asked you this before, but what about crosswalk insignia, no?
When we wanted to put crosswalks and signs in, they said the same thing that she just quoted. She said about it's too distracting. What they told us was too many signs, too distracting. You're gonna cause more accidents and you're gonna do good. It's like,
yeah, we can.
whatever.
So somebody gets hit or killed.
I think it's, in my opinion, it's worth at least getting pricing on it, no matter how silly we think the pricing is gonna be in the end. I think we have to do something to try to help.
I do too.
It might be worth pushing out there now that the businesses are down there and we're having a lot more foot traffic. See what it would take to maybe get a crosswalk painted across the street and delineated with signage. Again, I know it doesn't hurt to ask. The answer
Maybe there's somebody new in office now.
well,
You know what I'm
or that they weren't anticipating the traffic load of pedestrians that we have down there on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
But maybe it's just simple as there's somebody else in office.
It could be.
Could we get NDOT pricing on the sign?
That's my other
Or
question.
buy one from them?
You know, even Bill Hartman would be able to help us.
That's what
He
you
would
do,
help
I think.
us in a heartbeat.
Brian, I think that's what the interlocal agreement would allow for that, would be my guess, or we shouldn't enter into it.
To ask them about the signage. We do have agreement with the county for signage, as
Right.
long as it's compliant with NDOT.
Right.
Well, or if we're entering an interlocal agreement with NDOT, I think part of that interlocal agreement should say something to the effect that we're gonna buy the signs at their cost, not at
Well, it'd be available to buy, that's.
Yeah, available,
Which is what I
that's-
was saying.
Yes. I mean, I think that's,
And quite frankly, in the past, there were meetings with NDOT, and they were good meetings. Obviously, I'm going off council, I'd recommend that two of you that are gonna be here on council, go have a meeting with go have a meeting downtown with NDOT, go to them, don't ask them to come here. And just have, and maybe our town manager would be willing to go along, because she doesn't vote, you know, that kind of stuff, and there could be three of you there that could have a conversation with them about the concern. You might be surprised what would happen, because I think they're fair-minded people, I really do. It's been my experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think in here, he's trying to be helpful with us.
Correct.
And that's what he's saying, this is all we can do for you, but it's something. And we did abandon changing anything down on the S-curves, you know.
Right.
When I went back and told him what you all had decided on your end, and he said, we've looked at it on ours, and they just don't see much other choice, but on this, that's something we could probably work with them on.
yeah, like I said, I just want to make sure that we don't go with one if there's multiple options out there, I think we need to know all our options before we make a decision to drop 7,000 on a sign that may or may not help.
And I just bring it to you because I wasn't even sure if you'd be interested at all.
I think there's enough need for the businesses down there that we have to be interested in something. That's my opinion.
Anything can be done to slow traffic down, man, is an absolute safety issue. We're gonna have somebody hurt.
So the topographical survey, soil borings, and the wetland delineations have not been done to identify what the land can be used for or how much mitigation it would need. In order to get wetland consulting done, we have about 2 weeks left. And it has to do with frost and killing wetland plants so they can't be identified until spring when they come back up. I'm very familiar with Rivers Wetland Consulting. She can be there Monday and do the work. She looked at it, believes that it's still alive enough to delineate. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and have her do that, and we'll have that information. And we talked about taking that funding out of a fund called General Town, which has not been tapped, or LIT. The General Town that you said was like 10,000 in there, and we haven't
Yeah,
used
and we
it.
haven't used, we still have $6,700.
You looking for consensus or a motion?
I think consensus, because she can do this on her own.
Yeah,
Go
Yes,
for it.
but I do want to do this,
Doesn't
without
matter. Yeah,
you
it's-
knowing. Just
I'm
wanted
for
to be
it.
aware. And
Should've
if you
been
don't want
done.
me to, consensus tell me no would be good, but
And this includes the soil testing?
this is just the wetland.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, if we do soil testing, we need to make sure that we restore it back to something that Robin can use to bale. I don't want him to tear up his equipment out there, so. But if this is just the wetland, I'd do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm getting quotes on the topographical survey, and the soil borings. All of that combined is gonna be beyond 5,000, so I will bring you
Yep.
quotes on
Thank
those
you.
pieces.
Thank you.
What do we get for $3,100 besides, I mean, we already know it's wet, so what do we get out of that as a council?
Tells you what you can do with it.
It actually, she can advise on not only where the wetland is, what type of wetland it is, what soils seem to be identified by the plants that grow natively. She can also talk about how to divert the soils to make the ground usable. She works with developers to make wetlands buildable, to put it that way.
it is a necessary thing to move forward.
I
Yeah.
don't know why it hasn't been done.
Yeah, that's what I saw that 5 years ago, you guys got quotes.
It's
And,
probably Derek's fault.
okay, so there was that. I also wanted to know if you want me to get quotes on a consultant to do the comprehensive plan.
Yes, please.
Because doing it, I don't think I'm capable of doing the layout and all of that,
Well,
all of it.
I mean, we
And
need
the
to do
whole
it. We
thing
need
has
get
to be
prices,
updated.
But are we gonna?
Well, didn't,
Mailers, well,
when we
it's-
met
Oh, that'd be
last
part of
Friday,
that.
didn't
Oh,
Kurt,
okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, he was asking if this will include the mailers, and I said, that's all part of this plan. The first step is getting a consultant in to lay out the groundwork and what we need, the data we need to collect.
Well, we actually met with a guy by the name of Kirk Moriarty last Friday, from Fort Wayne Greater Inc. He was on our, ride, he had reached out to me and wanted to get with us and talk to us about the downtown corridor, going down to Legion and different things, building and stuff, and we talked about actually the property that we just discussed. And when we talked about the Envision plan, he had said, send that to me, let me see if I could help you. So.
Right, so what he was suggesting is he has coworkers who are very good at the survey part, and they can help. We wanted to take the survey from 10 years ago and update that. So you'll still have some data you can compare over 10 years ago, but you'd have new data. For example, if the community center, if people want that, what would they want in that? We can put that into the survey that wasn't in the last one. We could start gathering extra data, what things would people want to see down the road? What other kinds of retail would they look for? Those were not in the past survey questions. So those are things I want to see in there to help us guide more sections of the Envision plan. I don't want to jump the gun and throw the survey out and then have the consultant say, oh, you forgot this or that. So that's why I thought I would try to get us quotes and start working on these simultaneous, start building the data of what we want to collect and finding someone who can help us put it into a package.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Facilitate meetings.
I'm sorry. Mr. President, I believe we would be wise to have a request for proposal to choose a consultant, okay? And advertise that and see what we get.
Probably a good idea.
So we're in consensus? Do we need?
Yes. That's all we need, because we're not spending any money.
No.
We're just
Gotta
start looking.
Yes.
Okay.
My idea when I say request for proposal would be a formal. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Those were the main things I had. I would say Tyler suggested to me that we might offer a townwide decorating contest. And I put together some ideas and I reached out to downtown businesses. And the merchants downtown are willing to put boxes at their registers for people to vote.
We are?
Well, okay, I said merchants, like
I am a merchant.
retailers.
I do sell
Retailers.
things.
The downtown retailers. They're a service. But if you want to put a
Right,
voting
it's
box,
that
if you want to put a voting box in your barbershop, we could certainly do that.
You know what?
So anyway, we put it out there to see where people could vote easily. And it's also a way to get people into the shops. They could also vote here, and we could put it on the web. So I kind of put together like how the logistics of that would work. We maybe have the draw, find out who the winner is and announce it between Christmas and New Year's. And then we need to come up with some sort of, what would the prize be? Like recognition or?
A free haircut at Greg's.
Oh, no, I'm not included.
You can still get a haircut.
I think.
Yeah, I guess I can do that. Did my best at Veterans Day.
Yeah. If they want to participate, I don't know what the big deal is, really.
I mean, it's all about driving foot traffic and.
And I know last year there were some concerns brought up about lack of festivity in our town, lights and different things up through town. Is that something that we have taken any consideration?
Well,
You mean like hanging town lights?
this service industry individual will have his service industry business lit up like he always does.
Well, we appreciate that with your
Thank you.
service industry.
Thank you.
But, Mr. Leakey, would you like to speak to that?
I do know that Janet is working with Ricky, I believe tomorrow, to start hanging lights over at Riverside. They did purchase some new lights this year.
You ever find Santa Claus that's stored down there and those other lights? I think it's shoved in the back building in the park. That was a big complaint last year that Santa Claus, you get, oh, good.
You're gonna have complaints
All the time.
no matter what you do in regard to the park and so forth. I'll tell you that from.
I think that the concern was driven from the fact that, that we'd done trees in the past, we didn't do that. Like, we had the
Lot of
big,
stuff.
yeah, we had the big downtown
Our
shindig.
planners were,
Planners, well, 2 years ago, we were.
Just think about it as we move forward.
And I think we need to look at doing something on the plaza down there.
Aren't they putting up a
Well,
tree?
they were gonna put up a tree, but by the time I was able to give them some feedback, and basically I said that the general consensus seemed to be positive without having a vote before today, because we didn't have a chance to vote between them asking and today. Now she's not sure she could pull it off in the next 2 weeks, and they wanted it up for the 18th when they have their Hop and Shop event, so.
Them being the merchants, not the service industry people.
Thanks for the clarity.
That's nice. Just to be clear.
Is this something that we need to pursue, or is this something that's not?
If we could pull off getting a tree, they would be helpful, but I think they've kind of backed away from that. Just because of timing. They ran out of time.
I'll put one up in my yard. Right there.
I guess, why does a tree have to come here for Christmas decoration?
No, they were asking for permission from us because it's our plaza.
Oh.
And, yeah.
They have to have permission from council.
Yes.
It's no more than bloody consensus here.
She can't make that?
Strike the word bloody. A consensus here.
I heard it.
No blood intended.
My question is, in
John
time sensitive,
said bloody.
in time sensitive matters like that, I think we need to trust that our town manager will make the right decision.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we
And
said
if
that
not, we
if
can
they
have-
gave me an event form, I can approve that. In this case, I wasn't exactly sure, but it was up to me. I just said,
Well, wasn't there at one time they were asking us to buy the tree?
no, they said, well, she was saying, if we want to pitch in on it, that'd be great, but
Because you came to me and asked me if I would
otherwise,
be interested in buying, if the town
Because you're a
council was buying the
service.
tree.
Come, because he's a service guy.
But I'm the service guy.
well, when she was asking me, can we put a tree on the plaza, I was asking her, well, do you want to, how are you paying for it? I mean, are you asking us for that? I mean, what are you asking from us? And she said, well, if you guys want to help, so I threw that out there. But then, like just today, she said, we still want to do that, but we haven't found a tree and we feel like we're running out of time. But there was like an 8 people email and they were all starting to feedback, so.
There was also a suggestion that if they bought a live tree that had a ball on the bottom, it could be one, if we chipped in to help buy it, it could be one that could be planted in one of the parks.
Oh yeah, that was one of your ideas.
I think we can find a tree if we really want to. Then comes the question of decorating it and all that stuff, which.
Securing.
Yeah, securing it to the location. It's not super easy. I think we need to make, I would like to get to the point where we have a tree that is reusable and the anchors are in the concrete at all times and we can put it in, something similar to what they do at tin caps. That would be my recommendation. Long term. Short term, if we want to do it, I think we have to do bolt and burlap, build a box around it, and the weight there should hold it in place. That's my thought process. What size tree were they thinking? Do they have a height?
I think if they want to do something this year, just kind of let them go, and we should be looking at this like.
Long term.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not long term right now, but.
Point of information, so are they asking for permission to have a temporary tree, shall we say, on the plaza? It sounds to me like that's what they're asking.
That's what they were asking initially.
Well, okay, so, council, I move that the council approve the local merchants that are in the area that the town currently owns that we're talking about, have the ability to put up a tree there at their expense.
Sounds great.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And nothing stops them from decorating the outside of their building or their windows or,
No, facade's a facade. Let them do what they want.
Do we have people decorating the planters again this year? Is the parks, because the parks probably think.
I think that went through the foundation, right?
That was foundation.
Originally.
That'd be
They
foundation.
have all those little trees.
Yeah, those didn't last so long though.
Mine did. You have to anchor it, right?
Yeah, I know. My question is, are we doing something in the planters that we own downtown?
No, we
know by her answer.
been left into the foundation's hands.
Okay.
So we can have our town manager reach out and ask them if they're going to do anything.
Okay.
First thing they need to do is pull the plants that are in there now.
First things to do what, please?
There's still plants in the planters that are dead.
Okay.
So they need pulled, except for the grasses, those are still alive.
I
don't know,
think,
maybe we could decorate the grasses.
I think we need to look at something a little more, solid in a plan long-term for this. Because we have these things in, I know the foundation does it, they've done a good job. We ended up, the watering situation last year was kind of interesting. We need a plan in place that they're ours, we maintain them, we take care of them, that way there's no, if the foundation wants to help, more power to them. But this comes to the bigger aspect of downtown. We have this beautiful space, but it's kind of haphazardly being operated. There's not a real good operational plan down there. So I think we needed to develop a solid option for what we're doing down there and what that looks like year in, year out.
Well said.
I think there's some opportunity there with people in the community that would love if we could get a group together like the Hill and Grayville to take care of that. They would love to.
I agree, but I think somebody needs to, I think we as a town need to grab that and be in control of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We try to look for we put it out in the paper that we're looking for volunteers with horticultural skills. And, they could help, come see us. We have something that we want to present to them or whatever. Form a board, form a committee.
But I think you're saying more structure around it than that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to rely solely on volunteers or another organization to manage our area that we own and we
That's
put in.
well said in my opinion too.
I don't have a problem using volunteers to help install it and getting the community to work together. But I think we need to have a good structured plan for the area that is so beautifully created.
Because I was just gonna say, man, we could save a lot of money by having volunteers.
I don't have a problem, but last year we didn't even utilize volunteers to water. We utilized, I believe the parks probably helped pay for the plants, if I'm not wrong, at least they used to down there. And the foundation put them in, and then we hired somebody to water them.
Yeah.
We watered.
We water.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I didn't go into it at this point in time.
Right.
But I was waiting later to talk to you, and now you open that can of worms.
Let's just move
It's
on.
like, we could save a lot of money by utilizing a group like that and then monitoring it. And then in a bigger plan, figure out, what we can do with these guys instead of watering plants first thing in the morning.
Yep.
It's a better use of tax dollars. Next.
I think I've covered enough. We will be
Well, you haven't said
planning.
anything about the Christmas party yet.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was told that we tend to usually have an employee, council, plan commission, and all the board people come together for a Christmas party, so, we're getting quotes on doing that here in town, and I'm trying to get some dates. It would be a weeknight, because if we do it at Steady Eddie's or a place like that, it would be less impactful on their normal business if we did it like on a Monday or Tuesday. And I don't know if any of you have any opposition to that in December, but that's what we're looking at right now, is a weeknight there to support local.
Any food for thought? Okay.
My question is, are we gonna take that from current appropriations, and if so, how much? Or is this something where attendees would pay for their own meal at a set rate? Have we given any thought to that?
I am new to this.
So we can do one of either way. She was getting a quote from Kara, she hasn't done that yet. And we can see what the quote is. I don't think we paid for our own meals. I think the last few we've had, we've never paid for our own meals. And one time we had a real nice one at, Hall's, a gas, or a factory. It was really nice. We had the room. Were you there for that one, John? Or the last one, were you at the park?
I think the last one I attended, and maybe the only one, was at the park.
Yeah.
To me, if it's diminished type financial stuff that's being spent, I don't care about that, but I'm not so sure that it's in the best interest of our community that we ask taxpayers to foot the bill for our meals, I guess is my thinking. Yeah, particularly if we're gonna get a better rate, probably because of being a group. That's a thought.
Well, let's get the quote and we'll talk about it.
Okay. All right, that's all I had, I'm sorry to take so long. Much conversation.
Anybody, anything else for the council up here?
Only thing, like, just in miscellaneous surrounding all the unfinished business, I just want to know kind of where we're at with the investment ordinance that we're waiting on. I know that we've had it out there for a while, and just want to make sure that we're making progress in getting that cleaned up.
I know Tim had a draft policy, in the works, so I would imagine the next meeting after that, we're having a formal ordinance. And I think he's had at least some communication with Angela about that, but I'm not privy to the details of that.
We are gonna have to form a committee based off the policy that we have to have in place in order to do the investment ordinance. And Tim suggested it be myself and a couple of council members, or all of council. That'll be something we'll have to make a decision on.
Okay. There was about 2 or 3 other things, out there that, we discussed, and I did take to them, and they're finishing them up.
My recommendation would be you include all of council in that, because you need more eyes on the prize. It depends on what the financial expertise is of council members. It just is important, I think, to include as many council members as is willing to attend.
And that being said, it can be done during a council meeting. That was the other thing.
I agree with you, John.
My word, you and I agree on something again.
Doesn't happen very often, does it?
It happens.
What's the date?
I'm just saying.
Today's date?
Number
Yeah, write that down.
Yeah, we write this stuff down.
It's all on there.
That
Yeah, you got
was second time now or something.
Tyler, you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good.
John, you have anything else?
I have nothing else to give the body.
Okay, well, let's move to, has anybody signed up for public input?
That wants to speak.
I just have a couple of small questions. And thanks for, I'm happy to hear that you're talking about the Christmas decorations downtown. I think after last year, the town and the park were both pretty thin, basically nothing except for what the merchants put out there. And so, I just had a question, I don't know if I heard right. Did you say that the park did get some lights to put up down there, or?
On the pavilion.
The
They're-
pavilion?
They're
Okay.
gonna light up the pavilion, I think tomorrow.
Great, okay.
At least put them in place.
Yep, and then, whatever happened to that Santa Claus thing? I heard that brought up again. Did we find that, or?
I just brought that up, and I think he said he found it in the garage down there. That's where it was.
Look for it, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought you said you
Oh.
found it.
It could be either in the garage in Riverside
I
or
heard
it's
it
down in
was-
Cedarville.
I heard it was in the back of Cedarville.
That sounds right to me.
Okay, I just thought that was pretty cool. I'm happy to hear all that. I just couldn't hear everything.
Do you remember, did we have a manger scene too?
I don't remember. I think we did, actually.
I think we did.
Three
Yeah.
things at Riverside. There used
Yep.
to be 3 lit up.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'm almost positive we had a manger scene.
There was that, and then the painting of the Santa Claus, which was a replica of the one down in
Right.
Riverside. And
Right,
that was just some pretty cool stuff. And
yeah, I
just
agree.
Happy to hear that we're doing something again this year.
Thank you, Robin.
I'll take
Anybody else?
suggestions too. If you all want to send me an email, suggest what we would do on the plaza, certainly welcome.
Is there anybody else?
I have a question.
Go ahead and stand up and,
I used to maintain the banners, apply for, man, if we did put those in the late nineties, whatever happened to those? You know what I'm talking about?
we bought new ones.
Yeah. Do they get put up still, or?
Yeah. Our guys rent a lift and put them back up.
He doesn't know that.
They don't.
Yeah, we're like,
They
we
used
did?
to go up and down all
Yeah, we
around
did.
the town.
I remember when I was back on council last time, they were ripping, and we did buy new ones.
We did buy new ones.
So,
Because when I put the mounts up, they've been there for 25 years, I mean, I noticed they've been being used, it just came to my mind, I'm saying.
are they
No.
hiding with the Santa? I'm starting to wonder.
I thought Santa.
John, do you remember we had, Pam Span's the one that ordered those?
My memory is that the banners were definitely purchased. There were banners purchased that could be changed
Yep,
maybe twice a year or something like that. Is that, I
And
think
the,
it was
and the
twice.
guys rented a lift truck twice a
Yes.
year.
And in fact, at one point, somebody volunteered a lift, I think it was used, but I'm not sure that one was rented. But we definitely had banners. Now, what the condition of those banners were or still are, I have no clue. I know what part of the United States they might be located in, but they might well be down at the park.
I just thought about it.
Well, we did get some new ones 5 or 6 years ago.
For me, I had a 52-foot lift, and a lot of times you needed every bit of it to reach out, so I don't know how safe it is.
Right, have to get a 60-foot boom lift or.
Yeah, I don't think some little lift's gonna work.
Right, not just a
It needs a
60-foot.
30-foot reach and at least a 30-foot, and it's out.
Somebody brave enough to go up that.
I don't know if you remember that, John, I used to change those twice.
I do remember Jason when you used to put those up.
I have ideas of maybe if I should talk to them, I'm gonna do it.
I think there were snowflakes in the winter.
Yeah, and then it's a deal Cedarville in the summer.
Right.
Thank you, appreciate that. Is there anybody got anything else? Come on up. Don't you know?
Hard to say.
My name's Scott Hobbin. Actually, I mentioned this to Greg once when I was getting the Lawrence Walk. And the light at the intersection, or the lack of light at the intersection of Amstutz and State Road 1, especially when CVS is closed, there is no light at that intersection whatsoever. And I just think that could be a potential safety hazard. Even when CVS is there and you come in from Cedarville, CVS provides some backlighting to the intersection, but otherwise at the intersection there are no lights. I noticed when the lights at Hostler and Amstutz were put, those are beautiful. I know after football games that's really appreciated. But I just wanted to mention my concern for the lack of lighting at that intersection of Amstutz and Cedarville.
So you didn't fall on deaf ears.
Right.
I went down and took video and pictures, plus I took pictures of the tree that's blocking the light. Handed this off, sent it out to my councilman, and handed it off to the manager who has left messages, I think, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to call.
And NDOT said they
It's
were.
I&M.
Yeah.
That's I&M's poll, I believe.
I&M's asking them to put a pole, and we reached out to NDOT, and NDOT said they would send out a crew to look at trimming that tree back that's in their right of way, or hanging over the road. So we're trying to address both of those pieces.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nothing heard? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming.